Hello. Okay. Please sit down. Thank you so much, Conjen. And magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Good evening. I'm so happy to be here with you. And I hope you'll allow me to say a few words. I know the food smells great, but if you'll allow me to say a few words tonight, just I guess to introduce myself and to talk a little bit about how I view my tenure here in Canada in the next couple of years. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know it's very cold outside, although I think it's colder in Calgary, supposedly because of the snow, and definitely it's colder in Ottawa tonight. So again, magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. It is truly a pleasure to be with you this evening, and I thank Conjen Emma and her team in the Consulate General, and of course our local partners whom she recognized tonight for organizing this event. I couldn't be happier than to spend this evening with you. It's been a long day for us. It had been meeting after meeting with ministers, and including with the Premier and the Mayor of Edmonton. But this was the event that I was truly looking forward to today. So mga kababayan, we have heard time and again that Filipinos can be found almost everywhere in the world. One may visit the northernmost capital of the world, Reykjavik in Iceland, or the southernmost capital of the world, Wellington in New Zealand, the country of Fiji in the Pacific, the island of Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, or St. Kitts and Nevis in the Caribbean. And one will surely find a Filipino. In one of my earliest travels for the Philippine Foreign Service, I went to this place called Namibia, which at the time was a newly independent country, but we already found a community of sisters. Father Nilo, there were a community of sisters there running the hospital in the capital, Windhoek, in Namibia. So surely we'll find Filipinos everywhere, and I believe even in Yukon, I understand, a place that is so much different from the Philippines, one can find a significant number of Filipinos. So I will just share with you that one promise I have made to a couple of members of parliament who have urged me to do so is really to make it a point to visit some of the northernmost provinces and territories in which there are Filipinos. I am told by many members of parliament that there are a lot of villages, towns, and cities in the north that were slowly dying just because of it was so rural, it was so far away from civilization. But the Filipinos, with our faith, with our music, with our parties, brought life back to into these cities and villages. And I look forward to visiting some of our kababayans up there. So it is not surprising to discover that Filipinos have been in Canada long before the embassy and the consulates were established. In a census recorded dating back to 1901, Filipinos in Canada were identified as laborers, fishermen, and ranchers. Today, as the Conjen alluded to, almost 1 million Filipinos in Canada, more than 200,000 who have found their second home in Alberta, have been enriching the diversity and have contributed and continue to contribute to the advancement of this country. So, the diaspora here in Canada is the second largest anywhere in the world, second only to the one in the United States. And the diaspora here in Alberta is the second largest here in Canada, second only to Ontario. And I think through you, through all of you, through your friendships, through your work in your classrooms, in your hospitals, in the churches that you lead, you have conveyed to Canadians and to Canada the image of a people who we should be proud of, a people who have empathy, a people who work hard, and a people who are resilient. And this is something that I kept hearing today from one minister to another. Just the high praises that they have for the community here in Canada and for the work that you do each and every day of your lives here in this country. We refer to groups of Filipinos overseas as the Filipino community, concerned with the well-being of others, willing to speak and act for the benefit of other people, embodying the spirit of bayanihan. It is in this spirit that I am here today, together with your Consul General, to reaffirm the commitment of the Embassy in Ottawa and the Philippine Consulate General in Calgary to deliver services more efficiently and effectively, and to be your partners in promoting and protecting your welfare and interests. What I want us to be at the end of the day is for the Philippine Embassy and for the Consulate General in Calgary and for all our Consulate Generals in Canada for that matter, to be your home away from home. This is one of my priorities as I begin my tenure in Canada. This is a priority I have emphasized to all the members of the Philippine team here in Canada. That I want kababayans like yourselves to see the Embassy and the Consulates General across Canada as your safe, warm, and happy space in this country. So, you all have a standing invitation to visit the Embassy in Ottawa. If you are in Ottawa one of these days, please do come and say hello to us. I want you to look at the Embassy and the Consulate General not just as a place, obviously it's important, it's one of our key mandates, as a place to go to renew your passports, to get your visas, to have your documents consularized or legalized for that matter. Yes, we're always going to be there for you for those things. But as I said, I want us to be your second home. I want us to be your safe and happy places. So please, even if you're not renewing your passport, please do come and say hello, and you will always be welcome in your embassy, in your consulate general. One area of cooperation between the embassy and the Filipino community in Canada is to achieve credentials recognition. This was one of the important themes of our conversation the whole day today with the Premier of Alberta, with the Speaker of the Alberta Legislative Assembly, and with all of the ministers whom we met today. Because as early as the 1960s, Filipino professionals have been in Canada, teachers, nurses, engineers, and doctors, among others. They are recognized and regarded as professionals in this country, and we can do it again. Credentials recognition will open opportunities for our kababayan to be eligible of high-paying jobs and the 40% of Filipinos who have a bachelor's degree to be part of industries which require a bachelor's degree. I have emphasized to the federal government as well as to the government of Alberta today that it is only fair and it is only just that Filipino professionals who come to this country to work should be recognized for who they are, for what they are, for what they train for what they need education for. Obviously, this will not be an easy feat, but it can be achieved because Filipinos are known for their work ethics, and that's something that was reiterated to us all day long. We have always striven for excellence, we are motivated, and we persevere to achieve, not only to achieve our personal goals, but also to ensure the success of our respective organizations and institutions. So we work despite challenges and keep a positive attitude against all odds. A great example of this are the Filipino nurses, who were highly regarded around the world for saving lives and for continuing to serve even at the height of the pandemic that no one understood in the very beginning. So let us build a community that has more Antonio Flores, more Jerry Caincoy, more Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Nonato, or more MP Rechi Valdez in its midst, who can help echo and represent our community's interests both at the provincial and federal levels. So let's work towards that particular objective. I would also like to acknowledge the growing and impressive presence of Filipino business owners here in Edmonton. And this is something that our Consul General emphasized in our many meetings today, including with your newly elected Mayor of Edmonton. Your enterprises contribute significantly to the local economy while preserving and promoting Philippine culture. So in this regard, I would continue to encourage our Filipino entrepreneurs to continue championing and showcasing Philippine-made products, from food and beverage to handicrafts and fashion. And by supporting and promoting Filipino products, you not only strengthen our MSMEs back home, but also help introduce the richness and diversity of Philippine craftsmanship to the wider Canadian market. And in doing so, you become vital partners in advancing Philippine trade, culture, and economic diplomacy. I will just share that since I arrived in Ottawa in the late summer, early autumn, what I have been given as a token in all my introductory calls, as well as to the ministers today whom we met, are hand-woven products from the Ilocos region. All of you are familiar with the Inabel textile and fabric. So that is something, that is a story that we try to convey to all those whom we've met over the course of the last few years. And then we're thinking about what to feature for the next year. So mga kababayan, your contributions to Edmonton and to Canadian society are deeply valued, from healthcare and education to trades, entrepreneurship, public service, and the creative industries. At the same time, you proudly carry forward Filipino values such as the bayanihan, resilience, and respect, strengthening the positive image of the Philippines abroad. Edmonton has long been recognized as home to one of the most engaged and dynamic Filipino communities in Canada, and I see that tonight. Your strong presence is matched by your remarkable participation in community activities. And again, I want you to know, and I'm sure you know, that this is something that is not taken for granted by your premier here, by the politicians, by the mayor whom we met this afternoon. And this is something that they acknowledge, and this is something that they consider to be valuable in enriching Canadian society. So this participation of yours in community activities is especially evident in your unwavering support, and if you could allow me this plug, for the Winter Escapade, where Edmonton has consistently recorded, what I understand, the highest number of participants year after year. Showing your commitment to coming together as one community even during the coldest months of the year. So it is my hope that you join us again together with your friends and family next year. That's February 1 to 10, 2026. We will go to Manila, to Siquijor, to Dumaguete, and to the Bicol region. And speaking of numbers, I would also like to take this opportunity to inform you that we shall soon resume the overseas voting registration process on the 1st of December 2025 for the 2028 national elections. I hope that Filipinos in Edmonton will register a high turnout of registered voters and even a higher number of votes come 2028. Please continue to be responsible and involved citizens of the Philippines. I guess this is really more for the dual citizens, while being productive and law-abiding migrants in Canada. Just a few more thoughts. One is that we should all aspire, and I always say that you are our best ambassadors overseas, whether in Canada or elsewhere. Let us continue to build a Filipino-Canadian community that is inclusive, empowered, and united in purpose. But at the same time, I hope also that you will make sure that, I know there are problems back home. There's probably a different time to talk about those problems. I am not minimizing at all the importance of these issues that I know everyone is reading about, talking about. But having recognized that, I just want to emphasize a couple of points. One is, let's just be sure that our information is accurate. There's a whole lot of misinformation and disinformation out there. I know we get a lot of our news today from social media, and you need to be discerning. You need to be critical in thinking about what you read actually in all of this. So please be sure that the information you act on, the information you express your opinions on, are accurate and not misinformation and disinformation. But having said that also, really, again, I'm not trying to minimize the problems that we need to tackle, that we need to address, which the President is doing, but I always emphasize this to Filipinos overseas. There is a whole lot of other positive things to be happy and to be proud about and to talk about. So I hope that equally, we are also passionate about telling our kababayans, telling our neighbors, telling the people we work with, telling our friends about what's good, what's positive in the country today. Convey an image of a country that is modern, that is dynamic, that is inclusive, and a country really that still shares a lot of values with Canada. The values of the importance of the individual, the values of democracy, the values of human rights, the values of freedom. Yes, we have challenges in those areas, but I would like to believe, and I hope that you continue to socialize this, that Filipinos, your kababayans back home, there's a whole lot of positive things to talk about. Please, let's talk about those things first before we talk about the negative things. Which again, I'm not trying to be defensive here, I'm not trying to minimize those things, but I'm just saying that if we can express our opinions on some of the things that we should be outraged about, we should also equally be able to, with the same passion, express our opinions, express our pride for what we can be proud and happy about our country and about our people.
Yes.
And the other thing as ambassadors is our children. Please, I know it's easier said than done, but please, let's make sure that our children continue to know who they are. To have that identity, to realize their history, their heritage, their culture, their faith. As I said, the diaspora in Canada is growing, is the second largest now in the world. What we want to avoid is to have that missing generation in some of the other places, including your neighbor down south. That missing generation of kids who did not feel rooted, who did not identify with the Philippines, who had no inkling about their culture, about their history, and about their heritage. I'm happy that's changing now. Many Filipino Americans, second, third generation, are increasingly wanting to learn more about themselves. But let's not have that with our kids here in Canada. Let's make sure that they continue to know where you guys came from, the hardship that you've done in order to give them a better life here, and more importantly, to be proud of their culture, of their history, of their heritage, to be proud of being Filipino. And this is something I emphasize to our friends in Canada, that please do not expect Filipinos to become just full-fledged Canadians. Yes, assimilate, be part of society, but at the end of the day, continue to be Filipino, continue to be distinct, continue to be different, because only in that way will you actually help in contributing to the diversity and the richness of Canadian society. So, and there's no substitute for making sure our children continue to be rooted. And I'm happy to hear about the project with respect to the Filipino Charter School. I'm happy about the Philippine Arts Society in Edmonton and in Alberta. I think it will need this whole village of ours to make sure that our children continue to be proud of their heritage. And finally, Conjen Emma mentioned this. I want to hear your stories. I always look forward to meeting the Filipino community, whether here in Canada or in the Caribbean, for example, in my past life as Consul General based in Washington, D.C. Because it's only in knowing your stories that we really be better representatives of yours here, whether in Calgary, in Edmonton, or in Ottawa. So, I hope that tonight, in the little time that we'll be here together, I hope that I'll be able to speak to as many of you as possible to hear your stories. Because that's important to me, and that's important to your representatives, to your diplomats all across Canada. And finally, I would just say that in this age of Zoom, if there's any project, anything, any initiative, or equally any concern that you think I should know, please work with Conjen Emma and we can all have a Zoom discussion. And that's what I always emphasize to our team here in Canada, that we need to break the barriers between us and you. We need to break those barriers that sometimes is there. Again, there is no better way of doing that but by starting from the proposition that one of our main objectives in the near future is to make sure that the embassy and the consulates general all across Canada will be your home away from home. It will be your safe, happy place here in cold, wintry, true north. Thank you so much. I look forward to the dinner and the discussion. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay po kayong lahat. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
Buhay!
Thank you very much, Ambassador Chan, for sharing your vision and plans for uplifting and supporting Filipinos here in Canada. Once again, let's give a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to Ambassador Mr. Victor Chan Gonzaga. Thank you so much.